Hello and hello. Thank you for joining me. How you guys doing? Germans sleep differently, apparently, than Americans. Interesting. What are you guys doing? You don't sleep standing up or something weird, do you? Sleep with your eyes open? Felly from Germany. Practically a mythical figure here on German YouTube. You already know her, but check her out. Link down below. Always good videos, so I'm interested to hear. How do we sleep differently? Let's see.
US for my exchange.
Apparently, we sleep differently enough to make a 20-minute video out of it. That's amazing.
When I first came to the US for my exchange semester, I rented a furnished room in an off-campus house with American roommates. And since I obviously didn't own
It's hard to avoid the American roommates here in America, even if you try.
anything in the US yet, and only brought 2 suitcases for the whole semester, I couldn't really bring things like bedding, towels, and
I like how to a girl that's like such an amazing feat, like only 2 giant suitcases. Of course, I'm only poking fun. But yeah, I don't even think I have enough clothes to fit in 2 giant. If I brought that much, like I would think I packed so much. I'd be amazed. I'd be like, look how much I packed. 2 whole giant suitcases.
other essentials. So I actually ordered those things on the internet in advance and had them delivered to the house in the US so that they'd be waiting for me when I arrive. For my first night there, I made sure that I ordered fitted sheets, a pillow.
I thought she said feta cheese.
Case, a duvet, and a duvet cover. Just regular bedding. Or so I thought.
She ordered bedding before knowing the size of her bed?
Hello, servus, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, in a whole new setting in my bedroom, fitting to the topic. In case you're new here, my name is Feli. I'm originally from Munich, Germany, but I've been living here in Cincinnati, Ohio, on and off since 2016. So I order my bedding to the house in the US. I arrive. I'm super happy that I already have bedding for my first night there, at least something. I sleep great. But then my American roommate checks out my room and says, "Oh, you got a duvet? That's so fancy." And I'm just like, huh? What do you mean? How else would I sleep? That's when I realized that I was right in the middle of my very first culture shock and learned.
To be honest, I'm kind of curious what that means. You know, I've always called it a comforter, and right now I'm wondering, is there a difference between a comforter and a duvet? I think a duvet is just the fancier word for it. Comforter. Comforter. Where's duvet? The main difference is a comforter is a single piece of ready-to-use bedding. A duvet is a 2-part, soft, plain insert and removable washable cover. Oh. That is pretty fancy. I guess I've never had a duvet then. Ah. But I wouldn't have known just looking at it. I wouldn't even know that it was not just a comforter. I don't think.
Experience, because turns out sleeping and bedrooms are done quite differently in the US and in Germany. That includes bedding, the beds themselves, how many mattresses are used. That was actually a huge
I've seen this weird, I saw a picture of a German bedroom and it was 2 beds pushed together.
shock for many Americans that visit Germany for the first time, and even certain furniture that you may or may not find in the bedroom. So in Germany, it's standard to have a duvet with a duvet cover. In German, we simply call this Bettdecke and Bettbezug, or Bettwäsche. In the winter, people often put in a thicker duvet like this one. In the summer, you can use a pretty thin one. The trickiest part about this is definitely
It seems tricky getting it in there.
the process of putting the cover on. It's something that we start practicing pretty early in Germany.
Really? You learned this as a child? Yeah, just for that reason, I don't think I would do this.
I remember when we went on school trips in
Also, well, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about how the role of AC plays into this. I guess it does. Like, you don't really need a thinner duvet. Although, personally, sometimes I'll just sleep with, like, just a sheet. I guess that's weird. I don't know.
5th or 6th grade, we always had to make our own beds at the Jugendherberge, the hostel. So my parents would practice with me at home how to properly put on the bed sheets, the pillowcase, and the duvet cover. In the US, a lot of people actually sleep with a top sheet, where your cover basically consists of a thin bed sheet with some kind of blanket on top of it. Or if it's too warm, you can just use the sheet by itself, but the sheet is usually the only part that touches your skin and the part that gets washed most frequently. I mainly knew that type of bedding from vacations to warmer countries in Southern Europe or Asia, and I think I had seen it at American hotels before too, but I was actually quite surprised to find out that the majority of Americans also choose to use.
How do you feel about the following statement? You should use a top sheet on your bed. I don't feel strongly about that at all. I'm a very, like, I don't think about this very much, you know? I have slept with just a top sheet, just a comforter, just a blanket, like a normal blanket. You know, I think you do whatever the hell you want. It doesn't... You should use a top sheet. Yeah, I would never say that. That's too strong of an opinion for me.
Use that at home in their own beds, especially with air conditioning being so widespread. So I'm assuming it's not necessarily a choice based on temperature. Actually, if you're someone who sleeps with the top sheet at home, I'd be curious to hear what your reasons for that are. Maybe you can let me know in the comments below, because for me personally, the sheets always end up in a crazy mess by the end of the night, and making your bed with a top sheet is honestly a mystery to me. The other option that's
interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a pain to make the bed. It's more of a pain to make a bed with a top sheet. I don't know, man. I could be convinced that the duvet is better. But putting that thing on the blanket does sound incredibly annoying. And then if you don't do it quite right, it's like bunched up in the wrong spot or something, and the blanket's like lumpy. That would be really annoying. So I don't know.
Seems to be quite popular in the US, and that was completely new to me, is using a comforter where the outside is attached to the inside of the blanket. These are typically not put inside another cover, but they're used like that as one piece. Some people do put them on top of a top sheet, but some people also just use them without one.
Yeah, that's what I do that all the time.
And if you wash them, you wash the whole thing.
Yeah.
Now, having a duvet with a duvet cover...
I mean, it's kind of the kind of thing you have to wash by itself. And if it's not perfectly balanced in your washer machine, it might cause it to, like, start walking away. You know, the washer machine can start walking away. Literally. You gotta go catch it. You know, it's like, is your refrigerator running? You better go catch it. That actually happens with the washing machine. Do you know that joke? It's a prank call. You call a restaurant. You know, is your refrigerator running? Well, you better go catch it. You could actually. It's not even a joke here in America with the comforter being washed in a washing machine.
Is also a thing in the US, but it's definitely not the most common option. According to this survey, only 11% of Americans use a duvet. And to get back to what I said at the beginning, especially...
Okay, that makes me feel less crazy, because I've heard people say the word duvet, and I'm like, I feel kind of like I don't really even know what that is, but now I do. So
among college students and younger people in general, I feel like this is considered a little fancier and maybe more grown up than just using a
It's mostly the name. It's just because the name sounds French.
Top sheet or a one-piece comforter. Before Ben and I moved in together, he always just had a comforter, but fortunately, he prefers the concept of a duvet as well, so that's what we have here in our bedroom. I mean, I honestly couldn't imagine it any other way. I'm definitely German at heart in that regard. To wash it, you just take off the cover and wash that. There's no need.
It does sound smarter. If you're highly skilled at taking the cover off and on, then this duvet thing does sound smart.
To wash the whole thing every time, and it doesn't get as messy as the setup with a top sheet. For pillows, it's common.
But I do like the ability with the top sheet and the comforter to, like, kind of like mix and match. You know, sometimes in the middle of the night, throw the comforter off and just keep the top sheet if you're hot.
To have pillowcases in both countries, by the way, and same goes for the bottom sheets that go on the mattress. I'd say fitted sheets are preferred in both countries, but some people also just use regular flat sheets. Now, before we get to the
in hospitals and sometimes hotel rooms.
most shocking differences, let's take a second to talk about the things that you and your partner, or just you alone, do at night before you go to sleep. No, not that. I'm talking about the other thing that we all do, watching TV, or nowadays mainly streaming your favorite movies and series.
Oh, we do this as we are trying to sleep, which I think is an indictment of, I don't know, our brain capacity or something. Like we're deranged, you know what I mean? Something's not good. It's not right. You're not supposed to want to keep the TV on to fall asleep, but that's the predicament that me and my wife are in. Neither one of us like to fall asleep just in silence, which is deranged. You know? It's deranged. There's something not right about that.
Because did you know that with private internet access, you can unlock tons of additional content on streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Disney Plus, and get access
if only I had a code.
To content that is usually blocked in your country. Shout out to them for sponsoring this video and for bringing all of our streaming experiences to the next level with an amazing deal. PIA is a virtual private network, or in short, VPN, that allows you to hide your IP address.
There it is! There, what did I just say? There it is. PIAVPN.com/Feli from Germany. There you go. Go get your 4 months free.
How much VPNs usually cost is an insanely one VPN.com/Feli from Germany, and enjoy. Now let's talk about beds. The main difference is that in the US, one of the most common bed models is the box spring bed, while in Germany, we mostly have slat beds. But what's the difference? So box spring beds look like this.
I don't know, I'm a real bachelor at heart, you know what I mean? Like I never understood even what a box spring was for. I figure you could just throw the mattress on the floor. What's the frame for? What's the box spring for? I don't know. Who needs it? But we also, when I was a kid and we had bunk beds, it was the slotted thing.
And kind of consist of different layers, if you will. You have the bed frame, then the box spring, which kind of looks like a mattress, but it's actually just a structure that's supposed to support the mattress. And then the...
Yeah, it's like a wood frame with some like bedding sewed to it, and it goes around. It's a lot lighter. Like when you're moving, you know, you got to move the mattress and you got to move the box spring. The box spring's way easier. It doesn't fold or anything. It's pretty lightweight. You just toss that puppy into the truck. The mattress is like flimsy and heavy.
Actual mattress on top. A traditional box spring actually has coil springs inside, hence the name box spring, but sometimes they're also just a metal frame like this one. Many people then also add one of these mattress toppers, often made from memory foam for extra comfort. Due to all of...
I think they're a scam. It's my opinion. Come at me, bro. I feel like it plays on this fallacy
mattress topper,
where it's like, oh, you know, like, hey, why not supplement the comfort of your mattress with even more comfort? But it's like, but then you're covering up the mattress, which you paid a bunch of money for. You know, mattresses are expensive. Now, if you have like a cheap mattress that's uncomfortable, then sure, yeah, okay, this makes sense. But like, if you have a good a mattress that's comfortable, why would you want to put something on top of it to dilute that comfort? That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
Often made from memory foam for extra comfort. Due to all of these layers, American beds are often a whole lot taller than German beds. And I've heard from a lot of Americans that they found it super weird when they slept in a German bed for the first time and their arms suddenly touched the ground when they let it hang out of the bed because the bed was so much lower than what they're used to. Now,
that would be kind of creepy, except I did, like I said, I mean, I didn't say this, but I did indeed sleep on a mattress for a long time, like through college and a little after college, you know, as a bachelor. Because I don't care. You know, like a mattress just on the floor. I just didn't care. So, yeah. I kind of liked it, actually. I liked it a lot because you could, it's like the whole floor is your side table. You don't need a side table. The whole floor is. You can just put your phone right there on the floor. Or if you are watching something on, you know, a computer or something, on a laptop, put it right over there, you know. And of course, you're a bachelor, so you've got like a bag of chips right there next to your bed. And your soda. It was great, man. It was great.
For the last 15 to 20 years, box spring beds have actually become more popular in Germany as well. When I was 17, I even got a box spring bed for my bedroom because my family had just come back.
She remembers the year.
From a road trip through the US, and I loved all of the American beds at the hotels. And since I still had a twin bed at the time and needed a new bed anyways, I picked a box spring bed. But even though...
You know, now that she mentions it, like... I'm not, well, I guess I won't, I don't know very much about beds and all that stuff, right, guys? But I don't think twin beds very often have a box spring here in the States. I think that when it's a twin-size bed, typically it's just got the slots. Maybe it's because, like, those are typically used by kids, and so you want it to be lower to the ground. That's probably why.
Bed at the time and needed a new bed anyways, I picked a box spring bed. But even though those beds are becoming more and more common, they're definitely not what we would consider a normal bed in Germany. People will specifically call it a box spring bed or an American bed even. Normal beds in Germany and in many other European countries just consist of the frame and then the Lattenrost, as we say in German, the slats that are kind of flexible underneath the mattress to absorb movement, and then
Wait, do they actually bend up a little bit? In this picture, it looks like they actually curve upwards a little bit. That would be different compared to what, like, I slept on in the bunk beds, which looked exactly like this, but they certainly didn't curve up. These almost look like they have some bounce to them, but it might be imagining that.
That are kind of flexible underneath.
Let me look that up a little closer. German, what do we call this? Oh, she says Der Lattenrost. I guess I didn't have to put German in front of it when it's a German word. They do bend up a little bit. Interesting. Yeah, it looks like a lot of them do have a subtle arc upwards to kind of give it that bounce. I've never seen that. Like I said, we do have some slotted bed frames for twin mattresses, but they don't bend up at all that I've ever seen. Oh, look, this one even has a little bouncy bounce.
The mattress to absorb movement, and then one mattress, or one mattress layer, I should say. And the same goes vice versa. These type of beds are definitely available in the US, and I think thanks to IKEA, they're actually becoming more popular. But, at least in my experience, if you don't have a box spring bed, I'd say it's more...
You know what? Now that she mentions it, I think that box springs are a little bit going out of vogue, you know? Like, not entirely, for sure, not at all entirely, but I think what part of it might be that a lot of people are opting for these beds that, like, can, you know, you have a remote and it can, like, go up and down, tilt up and down, which of course does not work with a box spring. And so you've just got the frame that can do that, and then you put your mattress on top of it and it can bend it up and down. Yeah, maybe.
Common to have a platform bed instead, where the mattress simply sits on a flat support structure like this one. Especially among college students, having these foldable platforms is actually quite common. And you might also see platform beds with these wood boards.
Wait, is she talking about Germany or America right now? Because that is common here in the States.
But they're not usually flexible like the European slats. Now let's get to the controversial part of this video. Imagine you travel to Munich or Berlin for the first time. You book a room for two in a nice hotel, and then you find this. And you're left completely confused. Did they run out of big beds and just...
This is what I was talking about.
Push together two twin beds? But wait, it's one big bed frame. Did they run out of big mattresses and bedding? Or why in the world are there 2 mattresses and 2 blankets when you clearly booked a room for a couple? Well, I wish I could give you a clear answer for the why, because to be honest, I was never a fan of this either growing up in Germany. But what I can tell you for sure is that this is pretty standard in Germany. Having one big Doppelbett, as we call it, a bed for 2, but instead of having one large mattress, it'll just have 2 single mattresses in it and 2 separate duvets. My parents' bed
Why?
is like that too. The weirdest part about that setup is definitely the crack in the middle of the 2 mattresses. Some people add like a filler piece to kind of close that up, but at least in my opinion, that doesn't really make it better. So why would a whole country choose to sleep like this?
Yes, why?
Well, most Germans explain it with practical reasons. Having 2 mattresses means that each person can pick a mattress that fits their individual body weight.
Okay. That's a reason. That is a reason. It's not a dumb reason either. That's okay. You know what? I might be sold. You know what? You're freaking right, man. You're right. Because you don't buy a mattress very often, right? So you don't think about that. I don't think about that very often, but like, yeah, when you do buy a new mattress, it's kind of like, and you have a partner you're buying it with, you know, you might have a opposing viewpoint on exactly what is comfortable and what you want out of it. Okay, yeah, it's not that crazy.
Sleeping preferences. Some people need a firmer mattress, others want their mattress a little softer, some people prefer spring mattresses, others prefer memory foam. My dad even had a waterbed mattress on his side of the bed for a while.
No
Many
way.
people also say that it
That's crazy. Half waterbed, half not. That is crazy.
improves their sleep quality because it doesn't affect them as much when the other person moves around. And I'm assuming that's the same reason why there's 2 separate duvets. You don't have to worry about your partner being a blanket
Now that's pretty crazy.
thief, and it doesn't wake you up as easily when they roll around like crazy.
Although that is true. That is true. But I thought that was like part of the deal. That's part of marriage. It's like, yeah, it's like you're going to struggle over and fight over the blanket. That's part of it, isn't it? It's like 2 birds in a nest, you know, like, yeah, they're going to fight over the straw. And the bird, which bird, like what part, I don't know. I'm trying to make this metaphor work. It's not working. But they don't build 2 different nests or split it down the middle, do they?
Now, as I said, I was actually kind of the odd one out when I still lived in Germany. I never liked the idea of 2 single mattresses, so when I moved into my first apartment in Munich with my boyfriend at the time, we got 1 big mattress for the bed. But I remember that when we went to a mattress store, they basically turned us down as soon as we asked for a big mattress. Nein, you don't want to do that because you 2 have different fates, so you need a softer mattress than him. So I'm telling you, do not do it. So then we ended up ordering it online. What's interesting though is that the 2 mattress thing really only starts at a bed size of 180 or 2 meters. Smaller beds that are 160 or 140 centimeters wide do usually have 1 big mattress.
So the smaller beds have 1 mattress. Medium-sized beds have 1 mattress. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's probably just when it gets to two twin-size beds. Whatever size that is equivalent to. I think that's a king. Isn't that a king size?
Which leads me to the next centimeters or 2 meters. Smaller beds that are
Do you guys use those terms like king and queen? And twin?
really only starts at a bed size of 180 or 2 meters. Smaller beds that are 160 or 140 centimeters wide do usually have 1 big mattress. Which leads me to the next difference about beds, the sizes. I feel like beds kind of fall in perfectly with the overall sizing differences between the US and Europe or the rest of the world. Logical, metric sizing on the one hand, and what seems like randomly made up units that don't relate to one another and make no sense on the other hand. So in Germany, some of the most standard widths for beds
Yeah, but which one's more comfy?
are 90 centimeters, 120, 140, 160, 180, and 200 centimeters, aka 2 meters.
Yeah, but who came up with that, ? Just because it's a nice round number? That's not what the human body. The human body's not a nice round number.
160, 180, and 200 centimeters, aka 2 meters, with the most common length also being at 2 meters. There are other models available as well, but these are kind of the standards that people usually refer to. And when you have a big double bed of 180 or 2 meters, that's when you might put 2 mattresses in it. In the US, the most common sizes are called twin, twin XL, full size, queen size, king size, and California king, which is longer but not quite as wide as a king bed.
And there's the Alaskan king, which is really gigantic.
And it's not just the sizing of the beds that's different, but the bedding as well. So we're kind of circling back.
Wait, let me see here. So she said that like a big mattress was 2 meters wide in Germany. So let's see here. So king is 193 centimeters wide. Wait. So that means that German beds are actually even wider? Like you can get a 270. I guess she said 180 and 200. 200's huge. That sounds awesome. I want a 2-meter bed.
California king, which is longer but not quite as wide as a king bed. And it's not just the sizing of the beds that's different, but the bedding as well. So we're kind of circling back to point 1, and this is actually another bedroom culture shock that you might experience if you travel to Germany for the first time. German pillows that look like this.
They're square?
Yes, they're big, square,
Those look like what you would put on a couch.
and usually pretty fluffy and soft, so
Interesting.
to many Americans, they're simply not supportive enough. Now, in my family, we always had rectangular pillows. Those are also common, but most of the pillowcases in Germany are actually made for the square pillows. So if you have rectangular pillows, you often find yourself tucking in the pillowcase to kind of manually adjust the size to your actual pillow. And at hotels, it's pretty likely that your bed will come with square pillows, so consider yourself warned. But for the most part, German pillows come in those two sizes, the square.
So do you like... I mean, I sleep on my side, and so the pillow ends right at my shoulder, you know? And it kind of like props up my head, you know? That's kind of the... I don't know if that's the idea, but that's kind of, you know? Just like this, guys. This doesn't work. Using my phone as a prop doesn't work. You don't need a prop. I sleep with my head freaking at the edge of the pillow. You know, the edge of the pillow goes right to my shoulder. But if it's a square, then if you did that, you'd be like way down at the bottom of the pillow. And so you'd have to be scooting down your bed. And then also, like, I feel like that's not really where the softest part of the pillow is. Like, you want your head in the middle of the pillow. It's 80 centimeters by 80 centimeters. Hold on. Oh my God. Is that really what you guys sleep on? On one hand, this looks kind of awesome. It would depend on the sleeping position, you know? I think that's what it is, because I'm very, I toss and turn while I'm trying to sleep. Every night it's a new position. I don't freaking know what I want to do, you know? I go from my back to my stomach to my side to the other side. But if I was laying on my stomach like she is, that actually looks pretty comfortable. I kind of like it. I would really enjoy to try it. It's huge. Have you guys seen the cube pillow? Some people in America use this cube pillow. I think it's a gimmick, but yeah, it's a thing. What do they call it? Square pillow or some shit? No, it's like, I don't know. I can't remember the name, but it's like that.
Or the rectangular, and
Oh yeah, okay, so it really is just double the height of a rectangle. Oh my God, that's huge. It's insane.
blankets usually either come in a one-person size or a double bed size for people who do want to share their blankets. Which is why in the US, I was surprised to find out that with every bed size, the blanket and pillow sizes change as well. So For a queen bed, you usually have a different size of pillows than for a king bed, even though your head obviously stays the same size. But I think this has to do with how the pillows fill up the bed. And since your blanket is also usually supposed to cover up the entire bed here, those come according.
To be honest, I'm learning things as she's saying this. You know, like, I'm like, whatever, a pillow is a pillow. But yeah, I have seen that, like, pillows be marked as, like, you know, these are king size pillows and stuff. I've just never cared. I think out of the 3 times I've ever bought a pillow in my life, I didn't even look at what size it was.
To the bed sizes as well. Let's take a step back from just looking at the beds and focus a little more on what's around it, or what's missing. Because when Americans go into a German bedroom, they often miss one very crucial thing: a closet. In American bedrooms, you typically find a door that basically leads to a hidden chamber or alcove or even a small room to store your clothes. Watching American.
In fact, that defines a bedroom. Like, it needs to have a window and a closet for it to be considered a bedroom when you're selling your house, you know? And that's how houses, that's like the fastest way to identify what type of house you're looking to buy or sell is the number of bedrooms and bathrooms. So it's called like a, 2-bed, 3-bed, 2-bath, is very common. 3-bed, 2-bath, and for it to be considered a 3-bedroom house, those 3 rooms need a window and a closet.
American TV shows growing up, I always just thought that these kids just had a particularly cool bedroom with that extra little space that was perfect to hide in or play time machine with. But
that's true, it is a good hiding spot.
Turns out those were actually just regular American homes. In fact, a room without a closet is oftentimes not considered a real bedroom. In Germany, bedrooms don't usually have a built-in storage solution like that.
Like, it's actually like an official thing, like by law. You can't market the bedroom as being a bedroom. Your house, it's not a bedroom if it doesn't have a closet and a window.
Instead, we just put a piece of furniture for that in our bedrooms, a Kleiderschrank, in English usually referred to as a wardrobe. So yeah, even though German bedrooms are already smaller than American ones typically, you do actually need to fit in even more furniture. Kleiderschränke
that is interesting.
Come in all different shapes and sizes. The IKEA Pax is a very popular one, for example, and some people also have a built-in wardrobe like this one. Dressers are pretty common in both countries though. One feature that's really cool about German bedrooms though, that doesn't exist in the US, are rolling shutters, Rollläden in German. I've mentioned these in my video about house differences between Germany and the US because a lot of German homes have these. They're attached on the outside of the window and they're pretty heavy duty actually. They're fully room darkening.
Those are on the outside? I didn't know that.
And reduce noise levels too. In the US, people usually just install indoor blinds and curtains of course, but those—
yeah, I've never even heard of an outdoor blind. Wow, interesting. That's very satisfying hearing her close those. That is like Fort Knox, man.
And they're pretty heavy duty actually. They're fully
that would actually be like good, I feel like, for a tornado coming through, which happens all the time. Here where I live, there's always tornado warnings and stuff, and so you have to go like into the most middlemost room of the house and hide because you're in a, it's like the 3 Little Pigs with the stick house. Yeah. And so you got to go hide in the middle room and away from any windows. But I feel like that would help.
Darkening and reduce noise levels too. In the US, people usually just install indoor blinds and curtains of course, but those aren't always quite as practical and room darkening as German rolling shutters.
No.
Speaking—
yeah, the blinds and the curtains are not very— they do like a halfway good job, but if you're actually trying to get the room dark, you have to buy blackout curtains here in the States. Like if you work night shift, a lot of people, basically anybody who works night shift will buy blackout curtains that just totally cover the window in a very thick black cloth.
Of windows, another big sleeping difference is that a lot of Germans prefer sleeping with—
and the reason I say that, if it's not clear, is because if they work night shift, they have to sleep during the day. So they're trying to make it dark.
Open windows, even in the middle of winter. Some people like to open them all the way, others just put them in the tilt position that German windows can do. And that's not really something that I've seen people do in the US. On the one hand, Americans usually say it's too dangerous to sleep with open windows, especially in urban areas.
Interesting. I've lived in safe enough areas my whole life that's never been a consideration. That is interesting to even think. I guess I could see that. Like she said, in urban areas. Luckily, I've never had to worry about that. That's never crossed my mind. Although I do go around and lock the doors at night. Do you guys not do that? I do go around and lock the door. You know, I don't feel safe. Not that I mean, there's 99.9% chance nothing's ever going to happen, but I like going around at night, you know, when everybody's going to bed, and I lock the doors. If they're not already locked, it just makes me feel safe. So I guess that's kind of similar, like to, I don't know. I don't know why I would feel not concerned at all about opening a window. I guess the thought of someone crawling through the window is so crazy that it's like, no one's going to do that. But like if the door was unlocked, they could just like open the door and come in. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense.
On the other hand, say it's too dangerous to sleep with open windows.
But the real reason is that because basically at any time in the year in most places here in the States, you're either running the heat or the air conditioning. And so if you leave a window open, you are just sending that money straight out. It's like you're pumping the money straight out the window, you know?
Especially in urban areas. On the other hand, most American households have air conditioning, so they don't actually need to rely on open windows to cool down the temperature inside.
And furthermore, like I just said, it's not even just about, oh, we don't need to open the window. It's that if you open the window, you are wasting a lot of money. The AC is not like super cheap, and it, you know, it kicks on whenever the house is hot and it cools it to a certain degree. And whenever it hits that degree, of course, it shuts off. And if you just have the window open all the time, it's never going to cool sufficiently. So it's going to be working at 100% the whole time and never turn off. It's like leaving your refrigerator open.
And if they want a little breeze in their bedroom, they can just turn on the ceiling fan at night. Again, make sure to check out my home differences video, but both AC and ceiling fans are not very common in German homes.
You know, it's something I always thought was interesting is how fast a ceiling fan goes. You know, like, I've always thought it's like, if I went under that and jumped, I'd probably be freaking decapitated. Not really. But it would hurt.
Last but not least, let's talk about aesthetics.
Actually, okay. That didn't hurt. There you go. Bet you've never seen that before.
And different interior design preferences when it comes to bedrooms. The first thing you'll notice is flooring. Americans seem to love carpeted floors and rugs, so a lot of American homes have carpet in the bedrooms and other living areas, and in bedrooms with hardwood floors, you'll find that more often than not, there's at least a rug underneath the bed. It's all about...
I thought she said rock. Okay, yeah, rock. A rug. Yeah, that would be unusual to have just a bed on a hardwood floor with no rug. Yeah. Let alone, I mean, yeah, having carpet would be normal in the bedrooms. That's another thing about like a bedroom. Like most rooms in an American house, I was going to say most don't have carpet, but I don't know. It's kind of depends. If it's a more modern home, then there's more hardwood. Whereas like homes from like the 90s and before, they all have carpet like in the living room. And like this house has carpet. You can't see it, but there's carpet up here. And in the bedrooms. People like the carpet in the bedrooms. You know, you step out of bed, bare feet, and it's warm and fuzzy on your feet. There you go.
That cozy, warm, soft feeling when you step out of bed in the morning. In Germany, carpet...
Exactly what I'm saying.
Carpet in general isn't nearly as popular in homes, and I've seen a lot of German bedrooms with hardwood floors, or parquet or laminat usually, and no rug to be seen. And that's actually another aspect where I've always been American at heart. The house I grew up in did actually have carpets, which again isn't very common in Germany these days, and Ben and I also have carpet at our house here in the US. We even renovated the bedroom last year and put in brand new carpet instead of going for hardwood floors, because I personally just find it a lot cozier and just a little more homey. Aside from the flooring, you'll notice that a lot of Americans love decorations and making their bedroom.
And it's quieter too. It's a lot quieter walking around on carpet. Which is small. I mean, I don't know how important that actually is. Well, when you have a baby, actually, you gotta get up and pee or something, especially like a new baby that's sleeping in the room with you. You don't want to wake that sucker up. Trust me, if you've never had a baby before, you don't want to wake them up in the night outside of the times that they're already waking up every 3 hours. So, God forbid, your floor creaks or something, which on carpeted floor doesn't really happen.
Look like out of a magazine. A lot of beds here are full of throw blankets and sometimes even several rows of decorative pillows that people take off each night when they go to bed, and then they put them all back on in the morning. Not every American is like this, of course, but I've seen this a lot here, even just in guest rooms.
Certainly more of a girl thing to do.
Whereas in Germany, bedroom decorations are typically a little more minimalistic and, big surprise, more practical. Now I would like to know from you guys, how do you sleep? What does your bedroom look
Horribly.
like? Do you sleep with a top sheet, a comforter, a duvet? Are you a fan of the two mattresses, and why or why not? Do you
I might be a fan
sleep
now.
with the window open or with the ceiling fan on if you're in the US? Let's share our preferences and experiences in the comments below. And if you've ever traveled to the US, to Germany, or another country,
A lot of people do like the ceiling fan on, but then they like to get under the blankets, you know? It's like, I don't know, some kind of weird human phenomenon, I feel like. It's like they want the cold breeze, but then they like getting under the warm blankets and really snuggling up. It's like a contradiction, you know? It's weird. But somehow it makes sense, you know? I like it too. It's kind of like, oh, you know, it's cold. Oh, get under the blankets. Oh, oh, I'm so snug as a bug in a rug. Sheets are traditionally used because people used to use blankets, which you don't wash often. The sheets give you a clean envelope to sleep in. Yeah, I feel like that's what she kind of said. Thank you so much for watching. That was a great video. I'll see you guys tomorrow.